My pleasure to welcome everyone to this 27th Annual Wallace Stegner Center Symposium. I'm Bob Keiter. I've had the pleasure and privilege of serving as the director of the Stegner Center for literally all of those 27 symposiums, much to my utter amazement. Apologies for the tardiness of the coffee and the food. Our caterer was a little bit late. We'll try to have it on time tomorrow morning. To begin, we would like to have a welcome from our dean, Elizabeth Kronk Warner, who unfortunately cannot be with us today, but through the miracle of modern technology, she will provide a welcome to us.
Hello and welcome. My name is Elizabeth Kronk Warner, and I have the privilege of being the Jefferson B. and Rita E. Fordham Presidential Dean and Professor of Law here at the University of Utah S.J. Quinney College of Law. My pronouns are she and hers, and on behalf of the S.J. Quinney College of Law, it is my honor to welcome you both to our in-person and virtual speakers and attendees to the Wallace Stegner Center's 27th Annual Symposium on the Colorado River Compact, Navigating the Future. This year's symposium is co-sponsored by the Wallace Stegner Center and the Water and Tribes Initiative. Before the symposium begins, there are a couple of remarks that I would like to make. First, I'd like to start by acknowledging that this land, which we come to you today in the Salt Lake Valley, is named for the Ute tribe and is the traditional and ancestral homeland of the Shoshone, Paiute, Goshute, and Ute tribes. The University of Utah recognizes and respects the enduring relationship that exists between many indigenous peoples and their traditional homelands. We respect the sovereign relationship between tribes, states, and the federal government, and we affirm the University of Utah's commitment to a partnership with Native nations and urban Indian communities through research, education, and community outreach activities. So it seems really appropriate that we should be here today in this important community outreach activity. I'd like to acknowledge our symposium planning committee members. In planning this committee or this symposium, the planning committee members from the Stegner Center and the Water and Tribes Initiatives sought to bring together the representatives of the sovereigns in the basin, including the river basin's 30 tribes and Mexico, along with experts and stakeholders to reflect on the 100-year-old Colorado River Compact and to consider new management framework for equitably managing the river system in anticipation of the 2026 expiration of the current framework. I would like to take this opportunity to recognize the Planning Committee members for their diligence, hard work, and passion in planning this year's symposium. From the Stegner Center, I am pleased to recognize my colleagues, Professor Bob Keiter, the Wallace Stegner Professor of Law, University Distinguished Professor, and Director of the Stegner Center. Professor John Ruppel, who is a research professor and a Wallace Stegner Center Fellow, and Professor Heather Tanina, who is an assistant research professor here at the College of Law. From the Water and Tribes Initiative, I am pleased to recognize Daryl Vigil, co-facilitator of Water and Tribes Initiative and the Water Administrator for the Hickory Apache Nation, Matt McKinney, Director of the Center for Natural Resources and Environmental Policy at the University of Montana, and Jason Robeson, Professor of Law at the University of Wyoming College of Law. I would like that all the members of the Planning Committee stand to be recognized. Thank you. Also, on behalf of the Wallace Stegner Center at the S.J. Quinney College of Law and the Water and Tribes Initiative, I would like to extend my gratitude and appreciation to the donors and sponsors of this year's symposium. The number, diversity, and breadth of the donors and sponsors are evidence of the diverse communities and interests in the Colorado River Basin and a testament to the importance of this year's symposium. I would like to call out by name the principal funders for this year's symposium. First, the R. Harold Burton Foundation. Second, the Babbitt Center for Land and Water Policy. Third, the Cultural Vision Center. Fourth, the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation. And fifth, the Walton Family Foundation. While some donors prefer anonymity, I would like to ask that all donors who are comfortable with public recognition please stand to be recognized, and thanks for their support at this year's symposium. Thank you. Now, I wish you the best of wishes, and I hope you have a wonderful symposium. I really regret that I'm unable to be there with you today in person, as the American Bar Association has asked to meet with all deans in Chicago at this time. But I know you're going to have a great symposium, and I look forward to watching the recording. Have a wonderful time. Thank you. Chimigwich.
Let me again extend my welcome to everyone. Once again, I'm Bob Keiter, Director of the Stegner Center. On behalf of the Stegner Center, it's my honor to welcome both our in-person, that is everyone who is here in front of me, attendees to the symposium, as well as our virtual attendees and our in-person speakers, as well as we will have a few virtual speakers to this 27th annual Stegner Center Symposium on the Colorado River Compact, Navigating the Future. The symposium is jointly sponsored by the Stegner Center and the Water and Tribes Initiative, as you all are aware. We're quite thrilled to be able to hold the symposium in person this year after holding our 2021 symposium on the plastics paradox virtually and then having to cancel our 2020 Food and the Environment Symposium due to the unprecedented COVID outbreak. And if some of you recall, we actually had an earthquake here in the valley that coincided with the 2020 symposium. It's wonderful to be able to be here in person, to be joined by so many of our friends in this room and online. And let me again thank you for being here. As we hope we are nearing the end of the pandemic, obviously here on the university campus, masking is optional at this point in time. I did want just to mention, to put folks' mind perhaps a bit at ease, that with this modern building, we do have quite a excellent air circulation system. So that I think should help here and perhaps put folks' mind at ease. Let me speak to our donors on behalf of the Stegner Center. As the Dean did, I'd like to extend my gratitude and appreciation to both the donors and the sponsors of the symposium. We have a number and a diverse group of donors and sponsors that are evidence of the diverse communities and interests in the Colorado River Basin and this year's symposium. I'd be remiss if I did not take this opportunity to extend a special thank you to two of the principal funders of this year's symposium. One is the R. Harold Burton Foundation, which is the founding donor for the Stegner Center Symposiums and has provided principal funding for our 27 symposiums since 1996. Without the support of the Burton Foundation, we'd not be able to gather annually and bring the caliber and diversity of programs and speakers to the Salt Lake and Utah community. I'd also like to recognize the Cultural Vision Fund, which is a very important donor to the Stegner Center. They provide support for a variety of Stegner Center programs, including this annual symposium, the Young Scholar Program, for which they are the founding and sole donor, and the Stegner Center Lecture Series. I'd also like to recognize the S.J. Quinney Foundation, given that it is the 20th anniversary of the $26 million gift that the Quinney Foundation gave to the College of Law and for which the College of Law is named. They were also the first major donor to the Stegner Center, providing us with endowment funding early on. That was critical to get us up and running and to give us the confidence that we were headed in the right direction, also enabling us to hire our initial associate director and providing funding for the Wallace Stegner Chair for the College of Law. We're very grateful, all of us at the College of Law, to the Burton Foundation. Finally, I'd like to acknowledge the ESRR Endowment Fund for the Wallace Stegner Center. This fund, which was established in 2015, has enabled us at the Stegner Center to expand our programs and our activities and provide support for both the Stegner Center research program and for the Stegner Center's Environmental Dispute Resolution Program. As the Dean did, I would be remiss also if I did not acknowledge and thank my colleagues on the Planning Committee. It's been a year-long planning process, and I can attest to the personal time, effort, passion, and dedication of this group of individuals who were introduced earlier. But again, please join me in recognizing and thanking John Ruppel, Heather Tanana, Daryl Vigil, Matt McKinney, and Jason Robeson for their work in putting this program together. And I'd be remiss, too, if I did not recognize the hard behind-the-scenes work of the staff here at the College of Law and from the Water and Tribes Initiative, as it takes a village to put on a symposium. From the College of Law, let me extend my thanks to our marketing folks, Henry Randolph, Janelle White, Shelby Rudd-Jarman, and Karen Fuller, to our events folks and a true mover behind the scenes, Chris Monty, Susan Ross, and Tricia Kirschenman. Also, our audio-visual support, Sam Mills, thank you, and Spencer Cope. And with the Water and Tribes Initiative, we are most grateful to Mia Steer, Meredith Brown, Ann Calmer Kanan, Alice Heinitz, and Travis Anklem. One quick announcement, the Stegner Center's Environmental Dispute Resolution Program is currently accepting applications for the 2022 Collaboration Certificate course. It's a 7-session virtual course that teaches mid and upper level professionals working on environmental, natural resource, and public policy issues the, quote, art and science of collaborative problem solving. Applications are due April 7th. And for more information, there are some forms on the table outside. And also information can be gleaned on the website for the Stegner Center under the Environmental Dispute Resolution Program. Okay, now the important stuff, the logistics for today. We don't have a printed program, but information is available on the Symposium website, which is found in most of the recent emails, or you can scan the QR code with your mobile device to open the web page. Due to the tight schedule that we have today, the number of speakers, the length of the program, we'll only be giving very brief introductions for individual speakers, as has become the custom here at the Stegner Center programs. Food and beverage, as you know, is available in the lobby now, and during the breaks, you're welcome to bring it into the moot court room. We'll serve lunch in the lobby. There's additional seating spread out around the 6th floor here in multi-purpose rooms down the hallway. King's English Bookshop has joined us online this year and has our speakers' books and other books of interest are for sale there. Please visit their website. The link is available from the Symposium website. If you need to leave during the program, please do so quietly using side exits. If you need State of Utah CLE, there's remember to sign up on the Symposium website. We also have online evaluations this year, and you can fill them out on your laptop or mobile device. It's very helpful with our funders to get some feedback on the program. Our question and answer session, we'll use the Slido device. The instructions are will be available on the screen and on the Symposium website. If you don't have a mobile device, you can check with Sam in the back, and he can get your question in the queue. Finally, the usual admonition, please silence your cell phones. And let me now turn the lectern over to Daryl Vigil, who's a co-founder of the Water and Tribes Initiative and the water administrator for the Jicarilla Apache Nation. Daryl?
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Danjo, Koatse, Sayama. My name is Daryl Vigil. I think I know most of you folks in this room today, and I am a member of the Jicarilla Apache Nation, and I'm also part Jemez Pueblo and part Zia Pueblo. And so those greetings were in those three languages. I want to welcome all of you to the symposium today and tomorrow, and welcome all those who are participating virtually, as Bob mentioned. Very, very excited about this event. We had to close off registration yesterday because of the incredible amount of interest in this conversation today. And so very appreciative of all those who have signed up to be part of this conversation. And it kind of leads into, what I've come to call my river family. And getting to know each one of you over the last 12 years has absolutely been my privilege and my honor, in terms of the friendships and relationships and partnerships that we've been able to create over the last 12 years or so. And it's really interesting and it's really cool to me that I have three personal friends, two that have children named River and one that has a grandchild named River. So we've got three rivers, that have become a part of this family. And it's really, really powerful to me that somebody would actually go to the extreme of naming their child River. And I want to recognize, as Elizabeth did, the indigenous folks of this region who've been here since the beginning of time, and the Utes, the Shoshones, the Paiutes, and the Navajos. And Utah is a very special place, for my two Pueblo tribes, in that, we came from McElmo Canyon around the Bears Ears area, and so very well connected to this whole region as well. So definitely, understand the importance and the value that it has to all of you. I want to acknowledge, the University of Utah and Bob Keiter and Elizabeth, of course, who gave us the introductory welcome, for doing this jointly together and partnering with us for this conference today. And inside of that, thank you, Jason and Heather, who are here as well, for being able to accommodate and work with us, to pull this symposium together. And I want to just take a real quick time to acknowledge, where we are today in the world and all the things that are happening and the impacts, in terms of war and COVID and all those things that we have all had to do on an individual level within our individual families, our communities, and our states, and the struggles that we've had and continue to have. And in a little while, as we do as natives, we're honored to have somebody come up and hopefully, set the stage for that in terms of getting our minds in the right place in light of all those things that are happening in the world right now. I want to acknowledge, the realities of what's happening in our basin right now too, in terms of the hydrology and the urgency of dealing with the realities of our basin. And and on the other hand of that, is the extreme opportunity that we have, to absolutely have these conversations the next couple days and moving forward into the future about how we can do this together and what is that going to look like. And we're going to have a lot of those conversations over the next 2 days. I want to acknowledge, if you could put that slide back up with, that had all those partners on there. I think that's really important to me anyway, to acknowledge all those folks who help us carry on and who are our absolute partners in our work that we're doing. And over the last, 5-6 years, Matt and I have gone out and made relationships and built relationships with all these individuals. And yeah, these are our logos, but they represent a whole slew of people and that are committed to this work and this conversation. And so very, very thankful for that. And I want to thank our WTI leadership team. A long time ago, Matt and I came up with this idea of this conversation, and that conversation was created on a need that we saw in the basin. And we thought, well, how can we make sure that we do this with the most integrity as we can? And it was, well, we should call up some of our closest friends who are doing this work with us, and ask them if they would like to help us do this and give us hopefully their perspectives and their input. And we have one of them right here, my friend Tanya Trujillo, who was on our leadership team. And definitely, we're sad to lose her, but great to have her in the position that she's in. We also had at one time Mike Connor, who's moved on, and then Daniel Cordalis. And so we used to joke that we lost a lot of our WTI leadership team to the Biden administration. We have an incredible group of individuals who are part of that leadership team that continue to help guide Matt and I and Travis in the work that we do. And I'm absolutely grateful, for Dr. Matt McKinney and for Travis Anklem, for being my partners in the Drawdon Tribes Initiative. I couldn't do it without you. Thank you for that. And, it's been 5 or so years ago, and a lot of you remember this. We thought that the key to some of the solutions in the basin were the building of relationships and the inclusion and building of partnerships. And if you remember, and what did that look like? That was inviting the broad section, tribes, NGOs, feds, states, the ag community, municipalities, NGOs, conservation groups. We thought we need to bring all those voices together in a room. And those of you who were at the first WTI luncheon in Vegas 5-6 years ago, we had maybe 50 people in what I call the bowels of Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas, because it really took an effort to get to where we needed to get to have that conversation. And since then, it's grown. We had the last crew event, we had to limit it to 120 people because of people's desire to be part of this conversation. And what is this conversation? It's about, water policy, and it's about basin, it's about the hydrology, but most of all, it's about the people in the basin. And we did we organized these conversations so people will have a safe place to engage in this dialogue. So all our conversations, we didn't record. It was really about getting to know each other and building these relationships. And we've tried to create that environment and that atmosphere with this particular symposium as well, to really address those things that may be uncomfortable, may be hard to talk about. But, creating an environment because of our joint willingness to really move something forward and to transform something, that we're able to have these conversations. So hopefully that spirit is there in the next couple days in terms of how we do this. And I think, and that's been the how of how WTI has grown in terms of just the involvement of this conversation. And what has really struck me in one of our initiatives was an interview process where we went out and interviewed probably most of you in this room to find out, what the sense of the basin was. And one of the things that we found out through that process is almost universally, everybody wanted to see a healthy, living, sustainable Colorado River. And what does that look like in reality? And so I think, that's going to be part of the process over the next couple days. And definitely, my expectation and recognizing the opportunity of the next 2 days are really about, for me, the spirit of equity and inclusion and open-mindedness. And what is that going to provide, And I think that's going to provide the foundation for what, in my mind, is already emerging, this new paradigm of behavior and cultures and policymaking. And that's very exciting to me, because I don't, I think, we're at a unique place in history where we have an opportunity to absolutely transform something that needs to be transformed, in my opinion. And what is that grounded in? It's grounded all in the relationships in this room and the relationships that we build, and in building an understanding and a relatedness to each other. And that's been our mission. Our twofold mission of WTI initiative has been to help and build tribal capacity to engage in these processes and to be included in these conversations. And the second one is building on the collaborative effort that had already begun before I even got into this conversation. So again, I want to welcome you all. I want to thank you all for being here, and I really appreciate that. And I'm going to hand it over to Jason, right? Oh, I'm sorry. No. You think I would be good at this after all this time? And like I mentioned, as we do, and we're very, very honored, that the Ute tribe of Utah, has honored us by providing Larry Cesspooch today, a spiritual leader for the Ute Indian tribe, to provide, some initial comments and blessing today. And one of the things that's really, really powerful to me is that we have the Ute flag up there. So representative of the three sovereigns. And where's Roberto? We needed a Mexican flag, Roberto, so we would have all four sovereigns represented with flags today. And if you guys notice at Krua, that's something that we absolutely wanted to make sure that we did. So at the Krua stage, you'll see all the 10 tribes partnership flags along with all the other flags that are in the room as well. So Larry, thank you so much for honoring us today, and found out that in the past he had a Hickory girlfriend. So thank you. So if you please.
Close the door for me. Mike, Manurni, Swipanikeum, Iberunike. Good morning, everyone. It's good to see everybody here on Ute country. And I'm honored to be able to say the prayer this morning and wish you all a happy Leprechaun Day. Our people, Native people, we have those little people that still exist, and we have many stories about them. It's my honor, as I said, to say this prayer this morning. I'll be praying for Ukraine and their people, and nothing is by accident. You are all here for a reason in your positions to talk about a resource. Ba is what we call it. It's water, the blood of life. We won't exist without water, and all living things need that water to survive. And as time goes on, that water is going to be so precious, it's going to be more than gold. And we have to take care of it. Our clouds and snow and such don't come like they used to because of climate change. So we have to be humane to each other, but we also want to recognize First Nations here. That water was given to us, and through us we share that with everybody else. You all came from someplace else to be here. We were always here. And so we share that with you. So we stand on those rights and make sure that everybody gets what they need here. So with that, if you'll all stand, Yuike. I'll be using the sweet grass here. We call this the hairs of Mother Earth. and the eagle wing. The eagle is a messenger from the Creator, and whatever comes through this wing comes from the Maker for each of us to help us realize our position here and to be of one mind. We call that nanama, where we come together as one for humanity, to be able to share that resource. There's no substitute for water, and there's no substitute for blood. So it is a very valuable, precious resource. So with that, the weapon up agad. Panite, manurni be. What given to pagay, to samay. Oh, poet ke nuchu. Samay chichige. Oh, we have a place here. Yeah. Oh, poet ke manurni. It's what they need to be able to take care of this resource, Maiken. You are the Creator. You are our Father. What ke vesani? Yeah, maboke. With the sweet grass, manarni. What ke? Now what's ai? Tapagai. Maikanu, Tawakos. Smikea. Ukraine. Wow. What ke? Some way, somehow, that this war will stop. Touch Putin. Let him realize he's as human as everyone else. He will die just like anyone else. The well. Venom. Mapa. You are the one. You are the Creator for all of us. What the best minority. Oh. Being seated. One. Being seated. Minority. Oh, to Bogay. Oh, to somebody. Tawakos mawanam. I spirit ship what can it manok to say. Makano. Tawak. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cesspooch, for honoring us with that prayer and those words.